Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Before we dive into today's story, I want to ask you something. Have you ever been cheated on or caught someone in the act? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. 2 years ago, I found myself standing at the edge of a truth I didn't want to face. A truth that, even now, still claws at me in the dead of night. I sometimes wonder if the pain of betrayal comes not from the act itself, but from the lingering uncertainty, when you're left with pieces of a puzzle that never quite fit together. I've been married for 13 years. 13 years of building a life with someone I believed would always stand by me. And yet, here I am, in the middle of a divorce, still questioning if I was wrong, or if my intuition had been screaming the truth all along. I'll admit our marriage wasn't perfect. By the time everything fell apart, we were already fractured. When we married, I had uprooted my entire life, my career, my identity, and moved to her home country. Back then, I believed love was enough to rebuild from scratch. I thought I'd find a way to continue the career I had left behind, to be the man I had always been. But reality doesn't care about dreams. Instead, I stumbled. I struggled for years to find footing in a place that never quite felt like mine. My wife, meanwhile, thrived. She's a physician, sharp and ambitious, with dreams of owning property in the heart of the city. She had a clear path. I had nothing but broken pieces of a plan that never worked. The pressure to catch up, to provide, to match her success. It weighed on me constantly. And then I thought I'd finally found my chance. I took a job in direct sales, timeshare sales to be exact. I hated everything about it. The lies, the manipulation, the way it demanded that I bury my integrity just to close a deal. But the money was good, or at least it promised to be. And for the first time in years, I thought maybe I could be enough for her. But the reality was far from that. I didn't thrive. I cracked. My mental health collapsed under the pressure. I remember nights staring at the ceiling, drenched in sweat, feeling the weight of failure pressing down on me. And instead of support, instead of comfort, I was met with coldness, hostility. My wife didn't just check out emotionally. She seemed annoyed by my weakness, as if my struggles were an inconvenience rather than a cry for help. By the time our 10th wedding anniversary arrived, the silence between us was deafening. The day passed like any other. No celebration, no effort, just emptiness. I told myself maybe we'd do something that weekend, that maybe it wasn't too late to rekindle even a flicker of what we once had. I was wrong. That same week, she told me she was going out to dinner with her longtime friend, a man who, conveniently, also happened to be her boss at the clinic. Married, wealthy, with a reputation for infidelity that everyone seemed to know about. Everyone but me, apparently. When she told me, I felt my chest tighten. Our anniversary weekend, and she chose to spend it with him. I didn't confront her. Not then. Instead, I told myself I'd watch. I'd see where this led. I wanted to believe it was innocent, that my fears were just paranoia fueled by exhaustion. But deep down, I already knew. My intuition has rarely been wrong. And that night, it was screaming at me. The evening came. I watched her get ready. She dressed herself in a way she never did for me anymore. Elegant, flawless, radiant. I sat there, silent, as she transformed herself in front of the mirror. She didn't even notice the way my hands shook, the way my stomach sank lower with every detail she perfected. When she walked out the door, I felt something inside me break. I knew in that moment that nothing would ever be the same again. And I was right. When she left that night, I sat in the silence of our home, staring at the door long after it closed behind her. The quiet was suffocating. I tried to distract myself. TV, my phone, anything. But every tick of the clock dragged me deeper into dread. Hours passed. 9 o'clock. 10. Midnight. My heart hammered in my chest with every sound outside, every car that passed. And yet, no sign of her. Finally, around 3 in the morning, I heard the door unlock. She slipped inside like nothing was wrong. Her perfume still lingered in the air, mixed with the night. I was lying in bed, awake, staring at the ceiling when she leaned down to kiss me goodnight. I turned away. "Where were you?" I asked, my voice sharp, colder than I'd intended. She froze, then forced a laugh. "Just dinner with a friend. Don't make it something it's not." Something in her tone, it wasn't defensive. It was rehearsed. "Dinner until 3 in the morning?" I pressed. Her jaw tightened. "We were talking." I lost track of time. "Why are you always so suspicious?" That word, suspicious, cut deep. Suspicion implies doubt. But what I felt wasn't doubt. It was certainty. And then, in the chaos of our argument, she slipped. A sentence she never meant to say. "He didn't even pay me any attention." I froze. My blood went cold. "Didn't pay you attention?" My mind raced, connecting the dots. She hadn't just gone for dinner. She'd gone with intentions. Intentions that, apparently, hadn't gone as planned. When I confronted her on that, she backtracked instantly. "I didn't mean it like that. You're twisting my words." But I knew what I heard. The next day, while doing laundry, I found the final confirmation my intuition had been begging for. Lingerie. Not just any lingerie. Victoria's Secret. A matching set I had never seen before. The kind of thing she never wore for me. Ever. For 10 years, she had been the definition of modest. Comfortable. Unconcerned with seduction. And suddenly, for a friendly dinner, she chose that? I held the fabric in my hands, my chest burning. It felt like betrayal in its purest form. When I confronted her again, she looked caught off guard, her face pale. Then she spun another excuse. "I wore that earlier in the day. I had a formal event, that's why I was dressed up." "It's not what you think." Every word she said felt like smoke, meant to blind me, to make me question myself. But the damage was done. For days, I replayed the images in my head. Her slipping on that lingerie, her perfect dress, her perfume, the way she left our house without looking back. And her return at 3 in the morning, unapologetic, dismissive, as though I was the problem for even daring to question her. The worst part? A part of me still wanted to believe her, still wanted her words to be true. Because the alternative, that my wife had gone out on our anniversary weekend, dressed herself like that, and tried to give herself to another man, was unbearable. But my heart already knew the truth. For a brief moment, I thought she felt remorse. A few days after that night, her tone shifted. The hostility was gone, replaced by something softer, almost fragile. She approached me quietly one morning, her eyes glassy, her voice low. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I know I hurt you. I shouldn't have gone. I wasn't thinking clearly. It was a mistake." And for the first time in weeks, I let myself exhale. I wanted to believe her. God, I needed to believe her. My heart was bleeding, and those words felt like a bandage. Fragile, temporary, but a bandage nonetheless. She reached for my hand. Her touch was tentative, almost rehearsed, but I didn't care. I wanted to believe that maybe this could be salvaged. That maybe this wasn't the end. "I'll do better," she said. "We'll do better. I don't want to lose what we have." Those words shattered me in a different way. Because despite the betrayal, despite the doubts clawing at my mind, I still loved her. I still wanted to fight for us. So, against my better judgment, I accepted her apology. I told myself it was a lapse in judgment, that everyone makes mistakes. And for a moment it seemed like maybe we could move forward. But it didn't last. Barely a month later, her entire story changed. I don't know what triggered it. Maybe she grew tired of carrying the guilt. Maybe she thought I was finally weak enough to accept any version of the truth she fed me. But suddenly the apology was gone. The remorse evaporated. One night, during yet another argument, I brought it up again. I wanted to talk about it, to finally find closure. And she snapped. "I didn't do anything wrong," she shouted. "It was just dinner. Why can't you let it go?" I stared at her, stunned. "You apologized. You admitted you shouldn't have gone." Her eyes burned into mine, cold, defiant. "I only said that because you kept pushing me. You're imagining things. You're paranoid." Paranoid. The word felt like a knife. She twisted it, again and again, until I started questioning my own sanity. Had I imagined it? Had I exaggerated? Was my mind so poisoned by fear that I created an affair out of nothing? But then I remembered. The lingerie, the words she accidentally let slip. Her arriving home at 3 in the morning. The way she dressed that night like she was preparing for something forbidden. Those weren't figments of imagination. They were real. Still, she never budged. From that point on, she was firm, unyielding. In her version of events, nothing happened. She was innocent, and I was the villain for daring to accuse her. It was like watching someone rewrite reality right in front of me, gaslighting me until I questioned everything I saw, everything I heard, everything I felt. And the cruelest part, a small, desperate piece of me wanted to believe her lies, because believing them meant I could still hold on. Believing them meant our marriage wasn't already in ruins. But deep down I knew the truth. Our marriage had died the night she walked out that door. 2 weeks after that night, the night that burned itself into my memory like a scar, I received news that should have changed everything. An inheritance, a large one, enough money to wipe out every worry, every debt, every ounce of pressure that had been suffocating me for years. For the first time since I left my career behind, I felt like I could breathe again. And foolishly, I believed it could fix us. I thought, maybe this is what she's been waiting for. Maybe now, with money, with stability, I can finally be the man she wanted me to be. Maybe this will bring her back to me. So, I threw myself into saving our marriage with my wallet. Trips, dinners, gifts, a new apartment. I told myself I was investing in us, in a future that still had hope. I watched her smile when she saw the expensive things I bought. The way her eyes lit up when she realized we could afford the lifestyle she'd always dreamed of. But deep down, I noticed something else. Her affection didn't return. Not really. She played the part, holding my hand in public, kissing me when others were around. But when the doors closed, the warmth disappeared. At night, she turned her back to me. Conversations felt hollow, like she was reciting lines from a script rather than speaking from her heart. And whenever that night came up, the night of her so-called friendly dinner, she shut me down immediately. "I told you nothing happened," she'd snap. "Why can't you just get over it? Stop ruining everything." But it had ruined everything. The inheritance, the gifts, the distractions. They were just bandages covering a wound that never stopped bleeding. Over time, I began to realize the ugly truth. The money hadn't saved our marriage. It had prolonged its death. I was clinging to a corpse, trying to breathe life back into something that had been gone for years. And worse, I was losing myself in the process. I spent almost all of that inheritance in those 2 years, desperately chasing the illusion of love. Vacations, restaurants, renovations, all meaningless in the face of what I really wanted. Her honesty, her loyalty, her love. But those things can't be bought. And every time I looked at her, every time I remembered the way she walked out that door on our anniversary weekend, dressed for someone else, the resentment grew, poisoned me. Arguments became constant. Nights ended with slammed doors, silence, or tears. And no matter how many times I tried to explain how deeply I was hurting, she always returned to the same cold stance. "I didn't do anything wrong. You're imagining things." 2 years. 2 years of pouring money into a marriage that had already died. 2 years of gaslighting, of being told I was paranoid, delusional, insecure. 2 years of watching myself fade into someone I no longer recognized. Someone desperate, bitter, angry. And then, one day, I realized the truth. It wasn't just the betrayal that had destroyed me. It was my refusal to let go. Looking back now, I can see it clearly. Our marriage didn't end in the courtroom, or in the endless arguments, or even in the slow, bitter decay of those last 2 years. It ended the night she walked out our door, dressed to the nines, wearing lingerie meant for someone else. That was the moment my heart shattered. And though I tried, God knows I tried, to piece it back together, every attempt was like pressing glass shards deeper into my skin. For over 2 years, I carried that night like a ghost chained to my chest. I replayed every detail. The way she avoided my eyes, the click of her heels as she walked away, the smell of her perfume when she came home at 3 a.m., the coldness in her voice when she insisted nothing happened. Over and over, my mind spun in circles. Maybe she really had done nothing. Maybe it was just dinner. Maybe I was paranoid, insecure, broken. But then I'd remember her words. He didn't even pay me any attention. The lingerie, the hours she was gone. The way her apology turned to denial, then to anger. The way she twisted reality until I doubted myself more than her. And I realized something that chilled me more than the possibility of her cheating. It didn't matter if she physically crossed that line or not, because in her heart she already had. Marriage is built on loyalty, on choosing each other even when the world tempts you otherwise. And that night she chose someone else. She prepared herself for someone else. She wanted someone else. Whether he accepted her or not, whether anything happened or not, that doesn't erase the truth. She was willing to betray me, and that's enough. For 2 years I refused to face it. I wasted time, money, and pieces of my soul trying to rewrite a story that was already over. I told myself I was fighting for love, but really, I was just afraid. Afraid to let go, afraid to admit the truth, afraid to face the emptiness on the other side of goodbye. But now, as I stand in the ashes of what used to be my life, I understand. Closure doesn't come from her admitting the truth. It doesn't come from her remorse, or her apology, or her lies. Closure comes from me, from finally accepting what my heart knew all along. That I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't paranoid, that my intuition wasn't wrong. That night, I lost my wife not to circumstance, but to choice. Her choice. And maybe I'll never know the full details. Maybe I'll never know if she actually crossed that final line. But honestly, I don't need to anymore, because betrayal isn't just about the act. It's about the intent. An intent I had seen with my own eyes. So no, I wasn't wrong. The only mistake I made was holding on for too long. Now, as painful as it is, I finally see the path forward. Not with her. Not with the broken man I became trying to save her. But with the version of me that survived it. The version that can finally, at last, let go. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to support the channel. It really helps a lot. I wish you all an amazing day, and I'll see you in the next one.